As a practitioner, I would like to talk to you now about a couple of cases that I have treated with severe Candidiasis, and I'm talking over a 40 to 50 year period that someone has been dealing with Candida yeast infection. When we don't attend to yeast infections, systemic yeast infections, when it has actually gone into the bloodstream, our body eventually cannot cope and it will start to give us signs. We may get a headache, we may get a rash on our skin, we may find that we start to incur certain types of immune diseases, fibromyalgia, polymyalgia. All these things are linked to having a yeast infection. The first case I'd like to talk to is a lady, and we'll call her Mary. And Mary has for 50 years been suffering from yeast infections. By the time she came to me, no doctor could help her any further. There was no hope in regards to relieving her yeast infection, which it was showing in her body as severe thrush. She'd gone to gynecologists, she'd used steroid cream, she had been on diets, she was constantly covered in rashes in her body. Her symptoms were severe. The biggest thing that she couldn't cope with was the brain fog and the fatigue. Constantly tired, and actually saying, I think it's just old age. When I talked to her and talked about killing this out of her body, she had to realise that this had been in her body for over 50 years. So one dose I knew was not going to actually knock this on the head. We had to do it twice. When we first treated it, I actually had to help Mary's body alkaline, and then I actually had to help her cleanse, because also one of her symptoms is that she incurred diverticulitis. This diverticulitis is an irritation in the bowel. When we've got Candida, it means that our whole digestive system is out of balance. Now, a digestive system doesn't just start in our stomach. It actually starts from our throat all the way down to the end. And if our flora is out in the middle, you can bet you that it's going to be out this end or the other end. Now, with Mary, her indications were severe constipation. She could not go to the toilet without assistance of some sort. So this I knew. Before we did the cleanse, I wanted to make sure that her bowel function was moving. And this was really simple. Increasing water for her and doing a few other things to actually get those bowels moving. After one treatment, what occurred was the Candida and the fungal came out in her skin, and her whole face was covered in a fungal infection. She just placed some coconut oil on that infection, as this was a die-off reaction. It stayed around for about 2 weeks, and it came out of her skin in other areas, but the most important thing is the thrush was starting to dissipate. Now, her thrush was so severe, it went from one end to the other, and it was bleeding. The only relief she could get was from steroid cream. After we cleansed, we did the Candida treatment twice. She went back to the gynecologist, and the gynecologist just went, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, you need to keep doing it, because there is not a speck of thrush here at all. The skin wasn't even pink. So for her, it's totally changed Mary's life. So when it comes to this, it's such a huge validation of this product. 2 doses of Candida cell wall suppressor and a little bit of extra work as a therapist working with her, has been able to eliminate her 30-year-old thrush infection, gone for good. Isn't that amazing?